Hey movers, welcome back to the MovesU Heard podcast. I'm your host, Jaslyn Harris, and in case you forgot what I said on episode 1, you're stuck with me. Now, as you can see, we didn't drop our episode on Monday as usual, but we're all about grace and transparency here, right? Right. But today, you're in for a treat. My special guest for today is Miss Bria Edwards, Miss Songbird, aka Miss Room 1002. I'm so honored to have had this moment with her, and I am proud to announce that we're finishing out season 1 with her interview. I'm so grateful to have made it to 1 full season. Words truly cannot express how I feel in this moment. But enough about me. Bria Edwards, better known to the streets as Songbird, is a multimedia specialist from Atlanta, Georgia, who has always had a passion for music and media. As a graduate of Alabama A&M University, where Songbird studied communications media with a concentration in performance, it has always been her dream to tell stories and build community. Songbird has been featured on platforms such as Voyage ATL, Put You On Game podcast, Pro-Life Praise with Alveda King, and My Click, where she shares her stories, beliefs, and outlook on the climate of today's society. The new founder and creative director of Room 1002 Exclusives, a platform she created to showcase up-and-coming talent and creatives in Atlanta, Songbird has been categorized as a journalist, social media influencer, MC, host, and friend. Join us for some down-to-earth girl chat with my friend, Miss Songbird. Hey you guys, my name is Jaslyn Harris and I'm the host of the MovesU Heard podcast. We are back with another special episode and I am here with my girlfriend since day one, Miss Bria Edwards.
Ow.
Say hey girl.
Hey girl.
Alright, so we have an amazing episode for you today, and if you've been with us since day one, again, thank you again for being so loyal and listening to us, listening to our journey. We have been doing such a great job and I really appreciate the community that we have cultivated. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. You're stuck with us. Like I said on episode 1, you're stuck. So make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. All right, so before we get into everything, Miss Bria, aka Songbird here, you know that we like to start off every episode with a Moves You Motivate message. And a Moves You Motivate message is a message where it could be a quote, an inspirational scripture, or an affirmation, just so that we can have something to give back to you all as a gem to take away after you listen or watch this episode. So Bria, I'm going to start off with the message, and what I want you to do is tell me what your takeaways are. Tell me how you interpret it.
Okay.
Tell me what it means to you so that our viewers and our listeners can have something to take with them.
Oh wow.
All right. and I didn't tell her this before. She doesn't know what this message is. So you're getting the same reaction like right away. All right? All right. So today's Moves You Motivate message is: faith is to an idea what soil is to a seed. Water your purpose with faith because it needs to blossom. It is already done.
Wow, that's so good.
So what does that mean to you?
Well, if we want to just go based off of the fact that, faith is the belief in the unseen and, the unknown. When I think about a seed and soil, you know that it's going to produce a flower, a plant, some fruit, whatever. You might even know kind of what that looks like in your brain, but you still have to wait for it and watch it grow. And so I think that just knowing that by simply planting it, right, you're already manifesting what's going to come on the other side. The fruit is literally, it has to grow.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of planting it to begin with. So I guess when I think about faith, I think about planting myself in what God already has for me. I might even know what I want that to look like, but I'm still here waiting to see God do it.
Yeah.
So I guess that was maybe
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know if that was good or not, y'all.
I think it was good.
Yeah.
But the key word that I heard from you is manifesting. And manifestation is such a special word when you think of correlation to faith.
Absolutely.
Because it is the spiritual action of faith, if that makes sense. I literally just thought of that when I said it.
Come on.
But yeah, faith is very, very difficult, but it's a very special journey that you have to have. Because again, like, your plans are already laid out for you. For my followers out there, your plan is already laid out for you. You just have to believe that it's going to happen and put action behind it. So the manifestation part, I think, is like maybe step 2.
Yeah.
You know, because that's your spiritual belief, and then the action comes after it. And you have to water it. Yeah. And the action is the water. Absolutely. So I definitely resonate with what you had to say. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And that automatically makes me think of one of my favorite verses. You know, I'm not going to say word for word. We're going to paraphrase. But I'm thinking about John 15:5. Where if you stay rooted in God, you will bear the fruit.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think it's very important, you know, to keep that and make sure that you nurture it with faith. And things will come to fruition, guys.
Absolutely.
So, whatever vision you have out there for yourself, whatever calling you feel is for you, whatever you're working towards, don't forget to water it. Do not forget to water it. Or it won't happen. You got to.
That's very
true.
And
we right here and we watering, baby.
Come on. This is us watering right here.
All this came from faith.
Come on.
Yes. So thank you for your interpretation. And that's our MovesU Motivate message today, y'all. So... when we get into it, I just want to first start off with, I'm just so thankful she's here in my cozy corner. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You guys know my cozy corner is special. I put a lot of thought into this, and I just want all of us to be comfortable and cozy, because this is a safe space. I tell you guys every time, this is a safe space. So you guys are just really here to just watch us kiki. You know, this is for us. This is for us. You know, we got our wine. You know, we're nice and comfortable.
Our wine and our crown royal.
And the crown royal. In the crown royal cups, okay? But yes, so we want to get into it straight. So I just want to know, who is Bria? Where are you from? You know, where did you go to school? All that good stuff. How did you come up? Like, break it down for us. For the people that don't know.
For the people who don't know, like she said, my name is Bria Edwards. I am a not-so-native Atlantean. Ever since Amaretta came out with her song about how all these spaces are not Atlanta, I go out of my way to tell people I grew up in Austell.
Yes.
Mableton, even a little bit of Marietta at one point.
Okay.
I was born at Georgia Baptist, the Georgia Baptist. What y'all call that now? North Atlanta Hospital, something like that. But, well, I mean, it tore down. That don't even matter. But
Lord.
I was born there, but I definitely grew up in the suburbs. My parents are from here. You know, I like to define myself as bold and passionate and a woman of faith. And those are kind of the things that I've used to identify myself lately. So when I think of describing myself, I kind of go based off of those things. What makes me bold?
Yes.
I'm outspoken.
Yes.
You know, completely unafraid of confrontation. So sorry if you've ever had confrontation with me. I don't believe confrontation's bad. A lot of people do, but I just feel like just confront, you know? So that's why I consider myself to be bold, passionate. I'm a lover of all things, people, music, God. And yeah, you know, like when it comes to my story, where I grew up, where I'm from, the oldest of 8. Yes, 8. My daddy keeps having children, girl.
Oh, I didn't even know you had 8 siblings.
I have 7 siblings.
Oh, 7 siblings.
But either way, my daddy keep having kids. So, and I went to Pebblebrook, a little bit of Lindley Middle School for my Lindley Middle School ride or dies out there, and Alabama A&M University, and it was a wonderful experience that I didn't know it would be. But really, really enjoyed college more than what I could have imagined.
That's really good.
That's kind of just like a brief little background who I am.
And I love that, because I was going to ask about the, 3 different qualities you would have for yourself. So thank you for letting us know that.
Bold, passionate,
and a woman of God. Yes, ma'am. So let's take it back.
Okay.
Because I told them this is my homegirl. So how did we meet? Let the people know. And when I tell you she really thinking, because I'm really thinking too.
Oh man, I want to say 6th grade, but if it was before 6th grade, my brain just won't let me go back that far.
It probably was 6th grade.
It has to at least be like 3rd or 4th.
Because when I I was in elementary school, Mama didn't let me go to the schools in our area.
Okay.
You know, we wasn't from the hood, but you know, we was kind of close to it.
Come on, close.
And so the schools over there wasn't the best. And my mama was so adamant about you not going over here. If they failed AYP, she was not letting me go.
I love that. You have a good mother.
She's amazing. Shout out to Mom. Hey, Mom. But yeah, so for elementary school, I went to school in Smyrna over here. And for middle school, I was at Lindley.
Okay. So it had to be Lindley.
So we met. We had to meet in 6th grade, and then Mama took me out. So after 6th grade, she took me out and brought me back over to Kennesaw because she was like, "We ain't doing that."
Yeah, Lindley was bad in 6th grade, but that's before we had Big Herbs.
But see, 6th grade was fun too.
It was like the best of times.
Yes.
The best
Shout out to all the Lindley people.
Lindley.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
no, but it had to be middle school when we met. I think the one thing that stood out to me the most about you, which is how I remembered you over all this time, was you were a dancer and you were so bold with your hair. Like you always had some kind of like, I don't know if it's like platinum or just like silver or white. I don't really know like what color that is, but you were always very bold with your hair. You were always doing something different. And girl, don't take this the wrong way. You always had a knee brace or something on. I'm like, this girl stays injured. Like, what happened now, Jaslyn? What happened now? But everybody knew you as Smiley, and you were the girl who danced. And oh man, I just remember being like, yo, like she's really good though. Like you've always been really good. So those are definitely the things that stood out and how I remember you over this course.
Shout out to Miss Woody. She gave me the Smiley.
The super tall lady.
Yeah.
Yep.
She gave me the Smiley nickname because she, like, it became, like, it was like a nickname because it was good, but at the same time, it was like a jig because I was always happy. Like, she was like, girl, you always smiling. So that's how I got the nickname.
Okay.
And then it even followed when I was at Pebblebrook and I joined the band with Coach Beverly. She started calling me Bunny because she made me captain, but she was like, girl, you're bouncing around too much. You're just too. So I just need to calm myself down. Basically, that's what they told me. But yeah, so I remember the good old days at Pebblebrook. You know, we just sitting in the back of the social studies class, you know, just chilling.
Man.
We paid attention. We was good students. Okay?
Very good students. Like, y'all, I graduated with 3.9.
Yes.
So don't ever get it twisted.
Yeah, don't play with us.
Like,
we nerds around here. We nerds.
Genius.
Honors class. Okay.
AP. Know that.
Yeah, so this girl, she's been around for a very long time. And, you know, we recently reconnected, maybe I want to say a couple years ago now.
I would say it was like 22.
You know, after college, you know, we reconnected and that was really great. I want to touch on that, but I want to circle back to your career in college. So you said you went to Alabama A&M. And
the Bulldogs.
Yeah. So how was that for you? You said you had a great time. But like, give us a little bit about how that was. Let us know what you studied, you know, and what your experience was in college.
Okay. Well, I have to start by being transparent and saying that I did not want to attend Alabama A&M University.
Okay.
If you can recall, my staple or statement on me was that I wanted to go to the University of Georgia.
I do remember this. You was crazy about UGA.
UGA. You couldn't tell
me
anything about UGA. And I worked really hard to get into UGA. But when it came time, you know, I don't come from a rich family. So we didn't have the funds to send me to UGA, and UGA wasn't throwing me the funds to go to UGA. So I know the feeling. My band director, Mr. Kirkdahl, and I want to just personally give him a shout out right now because he is the reason that I went to college. Because I was ready to give up. I was ready to give up. You know, I didn't want to be the band girl anymore. I wanted to go be that smart girl, finally get to like really hone in on the journalism because that's what I wanted to major in. And, you know, band wound up being the only way I could afford college. So Mr. Kirkdahl lined me up all these interviews and all these auditions. And I remember auditioning for Howard and Bethune and Alabama State. Alabama State. And Alabama A&M came to the school, and some of the old band members from Pebblebrook were at Alabama A&M.
Oh, okay, that's
and
really
so
good.
I was like, well, you know what? if I have to go there, at least I'll know some people.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of
like a big sister, big brother type of situation.
And I was operating a little bit out of fear anyway, because UGA for me was out of the way, but not out of the way.
Yeah.
Going to Alabama was like,
that's out of state.
Never been to Alabama before that either.
Oh, really?
By the way,
Okay.
I'd never been to Alabama.
Okay.
So, long story short, I wound up getting in. And I just remember the band director, he went out of his way to make sure that I also had an academic scholarship.
Oh.
So I was able to go for free.
That's amazing.
And so, but I'm telling you, I didn't want to be in the band. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have an instrument. I didn't play all summer. I didn't even know I was going until 2 days before band camp. But I got there, and when I tell you, I fell in love with music all over again. And it was such a wonderful experience. And being in the journalism program, I majored in communications media. My concentration was performance. Mm-hmm. So when I went into college, I was like, I'm going to be a sportscaster.
Yeah.
Till I realized
it seems like that's a lot of people's dream when they're in journalism.
But you got to know every sport. And I only know basketball and football. Ooh. Like soccer, no. Tennis, no. Volleyball, no. Like I don't really know any of the other sports. So I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to work. I'm going to be a news reporter. Then it turned into like, the news is really negative. Never mind. I don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah. That can mess with you spiritually, too.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So what I wound up doing was I found a balance between the two. And so I minored in music for a little bit so that I could still do what I love, because I really do love music. I have a passion for it. There was a point in time where I thought I could just be in the Atlanta Symphony and just play my saxophone for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But I have been in journalism so long, I just couldn't let it go. It's something that I really enjoy doing. Telling stories is what I like to do.
Yeah.
And instead of using that to be a gossiper or spread negativity about people or, be a shade room type of girl, so to speak.
Yeah.
I decided to take it and do something else. So really focused in, took some acting classes and some directing classes so that I could just kind of do whatever I wanted, write some scripts and things like that. But it was hard, because I spent so much time in band. I didn't really get to do any of the internships I wanted to do.
Wow.
Everything was about how I lacked the experience. And I'm like, I'm trying to get
the
experience.
Let's pause. I need people, really, the system, to chill on that. You talk about internships turning you down because of lack of experience. That's what internships are for. I'm confused.
I was too. And they were such big fellowships. And, but I was up against, and I never thought that I would say this aloud, but I also felt like there was a line where if I'm a recruiter and I'm looking at these two stacks and I see, Harvard and Alabama A&M University, I always felt like for a while, and I don't have a problem saying this because the Lord, kind of showed me this over time, but I had a resentment toward Alabama A&M because I'm like, this is the only school that really gave me an opportunity, but I'm not getting any opportunities from going to this school.
Because of the name and...
and that's not to say that it couldn't have been on me or that God wasn't simply shielding me from spaces I maybe didn't need to be in, or
that's very
maybe
true.
Wasn't prepared to be in. But I definitely had some feelings about that. I really did for a long time. And I remember just thinking like, I'm just not even going to try, because I kept getting turned down. I could only get the local interviews at the AM stations and work in the press box at the school, which wound up being one of the best opportunities of my life. But at the time, it felt like this is all I can get, God. Yeah. Like, why can't I get the Google fellowships? Why can't I get, these big internships? So it was that saying, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. That's literally it.
Yeah. I like how you're able to say that, and where you're at now, you're able to reflect on those things because, of course, when we have a vision for ourselves or a path and a plan and we don't always go by that, or it doesn't happen that way, we're like, God, why me?
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
But listening to you at the same time, like even when you were talking to Mr. Kurtdahl, like you didn't want to go to Alabama. You didn't even think you were about to go to school. You didn't want to play in the band. But those things were put in place for you.
Yep.
To go to school and get what you needed out of it.
Come on.
And like how you're saying now, like you didn't get those internships, but who knows what God protected you from. Like I don't quote me on this, but I know Google done went through some stuff the internships, the employees, they done went through some stuff. Who knows what your journey would have been like?
Yeah.
If you got an internship like that. And lo and behold, like, you might have had a really good blessing for a time. And God forbid, if you did go that way, you wouldn't have to endure any of the bad times.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes to show you, like, you just never know. You never know.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I like to see things in the circle. Like, when you talk about stuff like that, it's like, oh, you didn't want to, but you here because of that.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that as you ask me more questions.
And I definitely feel you with the whole college thing and being able to afford it. Because my dream school before I went to KSU was UNCG.
Oh, wow.
And I traveled and I auditioned. I made the audition. I got a dance scholarship, but it still wasn't enough to get me there. So I couldn't go. Yeah, so I definitely know how that feels. But God has a plan.
The pressure.
Yeah, definitely. And another quote, this ain't a Moves You Motivate, but another quote that I actually have tatted on me, my mama, she taught it to me a while ago, is when you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. Yep.
I've heard that one.
Yep.
I've heard that one.
That's right here. Right here.
Put it on your thigh.
No, literally. Literally.
Wait, of all the places.
No, okay. The only reason I put it on my thigh,
I need to hear it,
was because it was my first tattoo, and I was scared. No, I was scared about if I could take the pain. So I chose a spot that I felt like was cushiony enough so I could take the pain. So that's why it's on my thigh, y'all. I'm not a heathen.
I'm just playing. Can't be calling people heathens on their own show.
But yeah, so I definitely understand how you feel with that, and I'm glad that you're in a place where you can see, you know, you might not know everything, but you can see kind of why certain things happen the way they did, or you're in a place of acceptance.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's good. It does take time. It does take reflection, and you're there. So that's the great part about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to touch on your nickname.
Okay.
So Miss Songbird, like, why do they call you Songbird? You gotta let them know. You know you have to let them know on my show.
Okay, so Songbird, that's actually a funny story. I love to whistle.
Yes.
It was very taboo growing up. My grandmother would always ask me if I was in a chicken coop or
not in a chicken coop
or something like that. I'm like, do chickens whistle? Like, where do you get that? I never understood it growing up. I'm like, what are you trying to get at? Like, just say you want me to stop whistling if you don't like whistling. But I actually got the nickname from a very good friend of mine, Kristen McCrary, aka DJ Golden. Shout out to her. But you know, she was one of those people that appreciated my whistling. And I actually taught myself how to whistle in an effort to, like, retain music. Like, I can sing as well. So I can sing, I can whistle, I can play. And so people always associated me with music.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that she loved was just that relationship that we both had with music. It was kind of like our friendship was rooted in music. So, you know, she's that person I just sit in the car with. We'll just jam out to music, you know, whatever. And it just over time became like, you know what? You like a songbird. Like I remember her saying that to me, like, you're like a songbird, bro. Like, you know every song. You can whistle any song. Don't ask me. Please don't ask me to whistle. I'm going to have to wipe off my lip gloss.
First of all, I definitely was.
Okay. Well, think of a good song. Don't think of nothing that's going to embarrass me.
So you need me to give you a song?
Yeah, give me a song. But
not even lying, y'all. Her whistle literally sounds like singing. Like, every little key. Like, it's on point. I'm not even playing.
I used to try to be the bird back and forth with Fiona on Shrek. But he goes too high. I can't get up there. But yeah, that's actually where Songbird came from. And it's funny, like, now I use whistling almost like a cope. Like when I'm too afraid to sing or whatever, like I can kind of just whistle it out and improv and things like that. Like, it used to help me in jazz band and all the different things. Whistling is one of my hidden, and I wouldn't even say hidden because I tell people. Yeah. But one of my many talents. So that's where it comes from.
You want to wait till the end? Or you
Girl, I don't care. I can bust a move. Come on.
Okay. So do you want me to give you a song?
I want you to give me a song.
Okay, let me think.
Yeah, think of something that you like, something that I can actually whistle.
Okay.
Let me make sure my lips dry enough.
My random go-to. You hear her warming up?
I'm good. Go ahead.
My random go-to is Bust Your Windows. Can you do Bust Your Windows?
I'll try.
Okay.
Woo! That's pressure. No, I'm just playing.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, she could practically do anything, girl. Like, she's so good. She's so good.
And that was not really all that, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that was just a taste.
Catch me, like, you know, on the stage when we're prepared.
She used to do it in class. And we would ask her in class. And I was just like, dang, this girl is good. I could barely. This is when I wanted to learn to whistle because I heard her whistle. But yeah, so that is Songbird.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, so thank you for that little talent show. This is the first time we had a talent show.
Period.
We might have to bring that back on MovesU Heard. Like, if I had some talented people, I should have got Kels to sing, you know?
Just a little something.
Just a little something.
Riff or, you know.
I remember that next time.
Yes.
I remember that next time. So, I want to take a moment real quick to just go back in time to when we reconnected.
Ooh, girl,
because I feel like this is where it gets really full circle for me and her. It was after COVID.
Yes, it was.
You know, because like in college, you know, everybody kind of dispersed and it's trying to be adults and stuff like that. So we actually haven't talked. And we weren't like super close in school, but we were always friendly.
Very friendly.
But now I feel like where we are now, we about to be girlfriends.
Home
anyway.
girl.
So, yeah.
That's my wedding. You know, I'm not engaged yet, y'all, but you know.
But she will be. We're already manifesting.
My man's watching. He knows what I'm talking
about. So, yeah. So we reconnected. I want to say, was it 2022?
I think that was 2022.
I think it was 2022, and we were still in Mapleton.
Yes, we were.
We just so happened to both be at the gym over there at the same time. And before I saw her, though, I had been watching her a while ago because on social media, we were talking about it earlier, that she's heavy into her fitness journey and she documents that on social media a lot. And I was always watching her. I always was rooting for her. She never knew that I was rooting for her. I'm just rooting behind the screen. Yeah. So I saw her in the gym one day and then we just got to chit chatting. I can't remember if we was chit chatting in the locker room or just on the way out to our cars or whatever, but we started talking just about where we were in life at that time. And it just so happened that both of us were kind of on a hiatus from work. Like, I wasn't working for 6 months and she was like coming up on 6 months.
Yeah, like I was totally unemployed.
Yeah. And so we were both kind of in a rough patch in our lives, but we were in it, but we were like, we saw the light. I feel like both of us were at a place where we saw the light at the end of it, right? So we were kind of just telling each other what we were going through at the time, and we got to catch up. We got to have lunch, and I'm about to do this with my life. I'm about to do this with my life. And now, you know, you're here. And before she's right here, she started her own, you know, brand that we're going to talk about a little more. And she actually had me on her show back then.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was a full circle moment. So it's just like really special to have her here now, where we were both unemployed. We both have jobs. We both have our own places.
Yes!
So it's
so
just
good.
It's amazing to be able to come back and reflect on moments like that, to see where we are and to see where we're going. Because this is only just like a midpoint. You know what I'm saying? For sure. And I really appreciate the opportunity to check in like that.
Definitely.
You know, it doesn't feel forced. It's not inorganic. Like, life is really happening, and it's happening for both of us.
Yep.
And we're connected, and it only makes sense, you know. So I just had to touch on it.
I love that. I love that you even brought it up, because when I think back to that time period in my life, I think about how everyone around me was like, how are you just sitting here unemployed? Like, how are you just... And I mean, like, I was so chill to have had, like, no money, banking on DoorDash, like, and everyone around me is like, you're not freaking out. And then I'm like, why would I freak out? Whatever is going to happen is going, you know, like, it's funny to say it, because even back then, my relationship with God wasn't what it is now. But when I think back to it, I had more faith then. Without all the stuff, and without like what I knew was next, and without the roof over my head and the new car outside, and like back then I was very like,
I love that for you.
You know what I'm saying? Like very just like, well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The money getting made.
God will provide.
You gonna do it. So literally, I'm like, car notes still paid, you know, whatever. And It was by the grace of God that I was living with my mother when I was unemployed. Thank you to my mom. A lot of people have this stigma about living with your parents post college, but despite the fact that I had my ups and downs living there, beyond grateful that I had the opportunity to be there. Yeah. And running into you, it's funny that you say everything that you just said, because it gave me a little bit of hope too. Like, okay, I'm not the only person after college who's kind of like in a weird space, because everybody else is on the gram flexing, whether they're telling the truth or not.
Right. What it really looked like.
What I see is your life is just going so well. And meanwhile, I'm over here like, I mean, I need another peanut butter jelly, so I appreciate you for even just having that moment and that vulnerability with me, especially because, like you said, we hadn't seen each other since high school. Like it had been a solid 5-6 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute
since I had 7-8 years. It seems. Oh my God, when did we graduate? 2014.
Y'all, she's on. She is the one that's in charge of our 10-year anniversary.
Yes, me and ID are planning it. So if you're from Pebblebrook and you're watching right now or listening, make sure that you go to find our page on Facebook and make sure you come to the reunion. But no, seriously.
We're old.
Girl, and I'm happy about it. I'm going to get finer.
It's okay. So, You're right.
So a wise man told me, who behind the camera, that your 30s is where it's at. So I'm excited to get older.
I know that's right. Amen.
But, that was a really, really dope moment that we had, especially because I've just always viewed you as such a nice, kind person. So I thought that it was really cool that you were even willing to talk to me and chat like that.
Of course. Come on now. And it definitely meant a lot. And for you to come out about the faith that you had in that journey, I really appreciate hearing that, because that hiatus for me was a very difficult moment. I think it was difficult because it was a choice.
Yes.
It wasn't necessarily by force. It became a choice, but it was more of an assignment for me. It turned out, because I told my viewers before that I at first thought it was just going to be 1 month, and then it turned into 6.
Okay.
So it was unplanned, and I'm blessed that I wasn't, hurting financially. I could still pay what I need to pay, and I was blessed to be living with my parents. So I do understand that as well. Shout out to y'all. They would have me at the house now if they could control.
Oh no, girl, my mama was ready for me.
They didn't want me to leave. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm happy.
Listen, her place is great. Just let her be, y'all. Just let her be.
I'm gonna come home for some food though. But no, like I really appreciate hearing that you were good and you were chilling, because that's what I'm working on for myself personally, letting myself be okay with resting or being still. And that's what that assignment was for me. So that's why it was so hard. Because I'm so used to grinding. I'm so used to going like this.
Hustle culture is so toxic.
And then at the same time, like what you're saying, as far as like what we see on social media, what you see from your people, shout out to everyone that is doing very well. I definitely commend y'all, and I'm so happy that you are. Yeah. But when you're someone like us that, we did all of the right things. Woo! We were smart. We had good grades. We graduated, honors, went to school, did all the things you're supposed to do. And then you get to a point where you're still struggling, and you're at the same level as somebody that ain't trying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That is very hard mentally.
But humbling.
Very humbling, yes. But it's definitely hard, because you're like, what did I do all this for? Yeah. And I don't deserve this. It's those things that I was kind of battling with at the same time. Also, while in that space, that's when God was telling me that I need to shift. Yeah. And being okay with being able to shift. Yep. So yes, I definitely feel like I got a little bit of more of that when I connected with you. Yeah. That makes me feel good. It like you said, you weren't alone. That's how it felt for me as well. And so it was just, meant to be. And now look at us.
No, literally look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Yeah, so
God is so good.
That's a message for all y'all. If y'all not where y'all need to be, if y'all are busy looking at other people thinking that that's the life that you want, one, you don't know what it really is. Yeah. They just showing you what they want you to see.
As
and
we
two,
all do.
You're gonna get there. Yeah. It just might be right now.
And I also think that what I learned in that moment was that what I thought I knew, I didn't. And you have to be, for lack of a better term, you have to leave room for God to be God.
Amen.
And I think that going back to what you said, your mom said about, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Like, I was more upset that the plan that I thought me and God came up with was really my plan.
Yeah. Because you got to accept that.
And I did choose unemployment, and things like that. At the time, I felt unhappy with where I was, even though it really was an ideal situation. I was traveling, I was working from home, but I wasn't happy. I really wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to use my degree. I wanted to do the things that I felt like God wanted me to do. But I feel like I jumped the gun, and I ultimately paid the price by being unemployed. Now, don't get me wrong, and I know you already mentioned that we're going to go into the Room 1002 stuff, but, Room 1002 blossomed out of that. But I wasn't ready. And so, when we try to get ahead of God, and that's really all I can say about that situation. I feel like I tried to get ahead of God.
Yeah.
I got so impatient with where I was, and I just quit. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. But I wasn't being a good steward of my money or my time. When I became unemployed, and I realized, like, oh, you actually don't save money. Or, oh, you actually don't, like, you're kind of a procrastinator, bro. Like, you weren't really that great of an employee like you thought. Like, I learned a lot. There was so much that I thought, like, I just thought I was the hottest thing popping. In that moment, it was really humbling for me.
But that's real. That's so real. And I appreciate people who are able to, one, realize it, but thank you for your vulnerability in speaking that too. Because, a lot of things these days is about the facade, how you appear to someone else, and not being afraid to tell people the things that you realize that you needed to work on. That's real, and that's a great thing.
Absolutely.
That's admirable. That's admirable here, okay? Because what did I say? This show is grace and transparency.
I love that. I need
grace
to come here more.
And transparency. You're always welcome. First of all, she's always welcome.
I'm gonna have a weekly episode, y'all.
Okay. Look. So speaking of, let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about Room 1002.
Room 1002, see?
Exclusives, to
Honey,
be exact.
Who's that girl?
Hey.
Me.
La, la,
All right. So, so Room 1002 exclusives. Oh, my baby. I'm going to do a shameless plug. If you are not a roomie,
please. That's what it's for.
Please make sure that you follow me on Instagram at Room 1002 Exclusives. That's Room 1002 Exclusives with an S. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Room 1002, like I just said, it was actually birthed out of unemployment. I quit because I wanted a journalism job until I realized that I had no journalism experience on my resume outside of college. And between college and 2022, it ain't much going on up in there.
Yeah.
So them companies, especially after COVID, a lot of companies were like, if you're not vaccinated, we're not hiring you.
Yeah.
I have no problem saying I'm not vaccinated. I'm not a Black Panther fighting the system or anything like that. I personally didn't want to get vaccinated. I had all my reasons why I didn't, and please don't come flood her comments hating me for not being vaccinated, because I know that's like a buzzword, girl. You might suddenly reach a whole different audience because I said vaccination.
Working in the movies, I know.
So they wouldn't hire me because I wasn't vaccinated.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to be around me, so to speak. So I thought about it, and I was like, well, I gotta do something. I was praying too. Like, God, just help me get one of these jobs. I really want one of these jobs. I want to do this. This is my passion, man. I know I will fit right in. Like, I could come in on the back end of a story and give it off. Like, let me, God, just give me an opportunity.
You just need that door cracked.
So my friend Kristen, once again, shout out to DJ Golden. Okay?
Period.
Y'all, get you a friend like that. Somebody who you can plug more than one time about how good they've been in your life.
That
girl been so good to girl, you've been so good to me. I hope you're looking at this. You've been so good to me. I don't have many friends like you. You've been so good to me. She was at the time working with this artist. He was a Jamaican artist, new to the area, and he really just wanted to get some PR out there, some press. And she's like, you can do it. And I kid you not, I remember being like, Do what? Like, whoa. I know I've been praying for this, Lord, but I ain't mean like slap me in the face like
so
that.
So now
like,
it's like, okay, you ready. You said right? You wanted it. Now it's time.
So we talked about it. She gave me the idea. We talked about, what that would look like. I'm like, okay, perfect. So you just want me to kind of talk to him about, because he was about to have a concert. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, no one really knows who he is right. in Atlanta. So we're trying to get him out there and just expose him. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was doing a podcast with an old friend of mine called Open Space. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I can just kind of like broadcast it on the Open Space page. Mm-hmm. But when I got ready to do it, I thought about it like, yeah, but this ain't Open Space, Yeah. And I'm standing there in the mirror at Colony Square getting dressed, because that's where I told him to meet me so that we could have I didn't even meet him before the interview. I met him 5 minutes before I sat down with him.
Oh, that's crazy.
No time to exchange questions or anything. I just came up with my questions on my phone, and I remember I'm in the bathroom all right, look.
You had that insecure moment.
We finna do this, right? No, totally Issa. Totally got an Issa moment. I'm in the mirror and I'm like, look, you got this. He don't even know you. So just do what you do, right? Kristen wouldn't have told you to do it if you can't do it. I'm literally in the bathroom, hyping myself up. I'm like, what am I going to call myself? All right, we're going to go with Songbird. Songbird makes sense. The show about music. Songbird makes sense. Okay, what we going to call the show? I don't know yet, but we're going to do it. So I get out there. Kid you not, I don't even know the name of Room 1002 yet. Uh-huh. I get out there. I'm sitting down with him. We're eating. As we're eating, I'm thinking about him. I'm like, okay. We sit down and do the interview. And the Lord dropped that in my spirit. Mm-hmm. He dropped that in my spirit. And the reason I called it Room 1002, I thought about the fact that all throughout that time of unemployment, my birthday is October the 2nd, 1002. Mm-hmm. All throughout that time of unemployment, whether it was on the clock on your computer or the serial number on your candle or the tag on a 18-wheeler in front of me in traffic, 1002. Everywhere. I know that's every right. day, all the time. And I'm not a big person on angel numbers and all that. I believe in Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ only. If you don't like that, I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. But I kept seeing that and I thought to myself, maybe the Lord just wants me to believe in me. Maybe he wants me to believe in myself. That's what I took it to mean. That could not be it at all. It could have been totally coincidence. I don't know. Yeah. But that's what I interpreted it as. And so I took it and I remember sitting down with him and I did my intro and I said, what's up, everybody? It's your girl Songbird. And I want to welcome y'all to Room 1002. And it flowed just like that. Crazy. It flowed just like that. And I remember thinking to myself, we got something here. And it wound up being a dope interview. Dude was dope. Mm-hmm. I put it out there on YouTube, but I did it through Open Space. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, I ain't feeling it. Yeah. So I took it down. Because it's your thing. Exactly. Yeah. And when 2023 started, because I spent that time, I did his interview in November. Mm-hmm. I spent the rest of November and December coming up with what I wanted Room 1002 to look like. Mm-hmm. Colors, theme, what's my what am I even trying to do with this? Mm-hmm. I decided you love music, you love independent artists, you're an artist. Get out here and talk to these artists, man. Mm-hmm. The radio ain't even really hitting on what it need to hit on these days. Okay, and talk about it. If I worked in a radio station, talk about it. I would still be doing Room 1002 because I would want to expose these artists to the platform they deserve. So I was like, just start there. Mm-hmm. Start right there, right? So that's how that came about. And when January 2023 rolled around, I decided to hit the ground running with it. I hit the ground running with it, and here we are. That she did. March 2024. Hey now.
That she did. Because I went to your anniversary.
And you did, and was looking good. Oh, thank you.
And I'm just so proud to see where it has been. And thank again, you. I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to be on your show. One, I think this was the first interview. I would have to think back if I did an interview before. But this was a first, legit interview with me, right? And I really appreciated that, one, because it was my first and you wanted to put me out there, but two, because her platform was more catered to music artists. Mm-hmm. And I'm coming on her show as a dancer and as an entrepreneur, so it meant a lot that you still felt like there was room for me. Absolutely. In Room 1002.
You actually helped me pivot. You were one of the first people to help me pivot and realize that though I do love the people that I've had on the show, I love music, I love everything that the show originally stood for. Mm-hmm. There's so much more that Room 1002 can offer the world. And so I thought about it from that aspect. There are so many creative people in Atlanta, and a lot of them don't have the ego that these artists have. No offense to the artists, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them really do have egos. And you came on my show and you were just so open and willing to have the conversation, you know, transparent. You didn't try to trample over me.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, it was authentic, and it reminded me, like, girl, you can talk to anyone. Get out here and meet some new people.
Because in your heart, you're a journalist.
Correct.
And so that doesn't limit you to a certain demographic or a certain target audience. It's great that you have that, and those are all great strategic tools from a business standpoint. But the fact that you know that you can go outside of that and still be just as great is a good thing to have in case you do need to make certain pivots. So I do appreciate that. I really do. And it was very special. And again, it was a full circle moment for us, for sure.
It really was.
So I just had to have her on. It only made sense. You know, she's a part of the creative community, the culture here. And I have such a love for music as well, and just that community. And, you know, the last interview I did was with my cousin, who is huge with independent artists too. And I think something that's special with your brand and my brand is just that we're very genuine.
Yep.
You can tell it is purpose driven and not materialistic or money driven.
Absolutely.
And we're not out here just to get viral. We're not out here just to talk crap about other people or other things. You know what I'm saying? It's very genuine from the heart. And that's why I'm always strategically choosing who I want to be on this show.
Absolutely.
So yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
being
for
on
having me.
this
Very
show.
proud of you.
Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit more about Room 1002 and like just your journey with creating your baby, because I can understand the highs and lows as far as being an entrepreneur. It's a lot of shifts. You know, it's a lot of shifts. It's really tough. I was telling her before we got on the camera and before we got on the mic that I've been taking notes from her. You know, I've been in this entrepreneurship game for a little over 3 years now. But to be in the game as someone in media, talking in the camera, you know, I tell you guys all the time, this is something that I'm new to. So honestly, I aspire to be like her in some ways.
Wow.
You know, to have your own individual uniqueness with it, but where she's going, the, you know, the characteristics that she has, the class that you have,
Thank you.
down to the branding, like what you were saying, you spent time figuring out, you know, the colors, all that good stuff. I probably could spend more time on that if I'm just being honest. So, you know, if you see one color, you know, 1 year and you see another color, don't judge me.
Right. Ride the wave, y'all. Just ride the wave.
But yeah, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, I spent a lot of time trying to be a perfectionist. A lot of my life trying to be a perfectionist. So when it came to Room 1002, of course, it was no different. In the beginning, I'm like, oh, well, it has to be perfect. I literally did one of the dumbest things you can do as a young adult. I got off my family phone plan. Just so I could get an iPhone. Now, I was dating somebody, and it was their idea, and I mean, they did.
But see, they wasn't paying, was they?
No, they was paying for the phone at first, you know, until they weren't. But, you know, it was actually their idea, and I do have to give credit to that person, you know, because they also were just kind of trying to push me. Like just step out on faith, because I was like, well, I don't have a camera, like I don't have a studio, I don't have a crew, and they're like, man, all you need is you and your personality. Like, come on, like you can do this. Yeah. So I got off my family phone plan. I got the new iPhone at the time, which was the 13 Pro. I can't believe they on like number 20 now, but anyway,
right. I'm still on 12 Pro. Yeah,
girl,
I'm not paying.
I went and got a 13 Pro, and my friend Hallie Josie gave me a tripod for Christmas, and it was like this little, it was a stand and a little I wish I knew the terminology for it, but it's almost like you can hold it on both sides.
Oh,
you can
I know what you're
talking about. From the tripod stand.
It's like a stabilizer.
Correct.
Ooh, look at me knowing the words.
And, come on, knowing the words. And the phone went inside of there. I literally could not even see what my videos looked like because I was recording from the back camera. You know, and I'm like, well, Lord,
we gonna see.
We just gonna see, you know. And people were at the time letting me come to their houses, letting me meet them in the studio, wherever, you know. Sometimes I would get on Peerspace. Shout out to Peerspace.
Yeah, shout out to Peerspace.
But sometimes I would get on Peerspace and just find cool spaces. But it was my goal to in my first season, it was my goal to meet people where they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted the atmosphere to embody the artist, you know? And once I started working with Christian Greer and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like really expanding myself, then I found somewhere solid where my show could be consistent and
Mm-hmm.
kind of have like the same background and different
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
I noticed that.
But yeah. And I really, you know, I still struggle even today. Like
Mm-hmm.
right now, I'm kind of making some shifts and some changes just to legitimize the show a little bit more. But I made sure that I got my LLC. I made
Mm-hmm.
sure that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I started making people sign agreements or contracts, however you want to put it. You know, it's kind of hard to keep up with all that by yourself.
It is.
But
talk about
it has been such a wonderful experience. I really wouldn't trade it for anything. It's a little bit difficult, and I've been riding the wave. It's funny, I started it when I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
Here I am 2 years later, and I have a job.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And even though I work from home, it's still like,
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with finding the balance of like, don't cheat these people's clock. You
Yeah.
know, like I'm really working on integrity.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, I'm at home. I could just edit my episode, but you need to work for these people and
Yeah.
do the job they're paying you to do.
Yeah.
So I'm still definitely struggling with like time and balance.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I can say that never stopped was the networking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I pride myself on when it comes to Room 1002. These are not people I'm just randomly hitting up on Instagram. These are people who I went out in the streets and met them.
Yeah.
You know, I went out to their shows to show love and support.
Yeah.
I introduced myself
and I love
face
that.
to face, you know, like, and I'm not riding the back of anybody else, you
Yeah.
know. Of course, I'm not the only journalist in Atlanta. I'm not the only person with a podcast. So yeah, I might wind up interviewing people that other people interview, you know. But at the end of the day, I pride myself on making sure that I build those connections because I want people to know that the whole purpose is to actually support them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just bringing you on my show for myself.
Right.
I believe in you as an artist.
Right.
I believe in you as a creative. And that is my driving force.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I'm going to come to your shows. I might not be able to come to all of them. Y'all be wanting me to come to every show.
We're one person.
Like, I'm just one little person. No, but seriously, I take that to be, you know, one of the staples of Room 1002. Like, people can really say she's supportive.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because she had me on Room 1002, but because if I look out in the crowd, she gonna be at my show.
Mm-hmm.
If I look out in the crowd, she might be out there interviewing people at my show, giving me random press I didn't even ask her for. So I've been able to expand. You know, Room 1002 started off with just me. Girl, now I do red carpets, award shows,
And I've
hosting
seen
panels
you.
and fashion shows.
Yes, ma'am.
God has been good to me.
Yeah.
It's really not me. It's not. And I have no problem saying that. It really is God. I had to humble myself. Stop being scary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that's for. But
That was a little for me.
Stop
I'll be
being
honest.
scary. You can't. You're doing a disservice to God and his people by not using your gift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just had to really step outside of myself. And that was even something that, once again, Kristen, DJ Golden would tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, stop being scary. Just do it.
I really love that for you. And that's why I was just like so excited. And I always say that I'm always rooting for you in the background. Like, you might never know it, but I'm over here just like, yes.
Stop!
Because I remember that moment that we had in the gym, and to see you on the red carpet, to see you interviewing people at certain award shows and events, like, and to me, the person looking from the outside in, it happened like this.
Yeah.
Right? And it probably felt like that somewhat for you too, but you're in the journey, right? So you felt all the feelings. But for me to see you from point A to point B, and knowing that you still got C, D, E, F, G,
Come
like,
on.
you know what I'm saying? It's really, really special to know that you are really moving.
Thank you.
And I really feel what you're saying as far as you actually support the people that you interview, the people that you have come on your show. It's not just about you. And I say that all the time because I am literally a purpose chaser. Like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing this for y'all. If I was living this life for me, I would still be in the studio every day of the week.
Come on, talk about it.
Honestly, this is something that God made me do, and it felt uncomfortable to not do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for you to be someone like me that actively supports the people that you have on your show, it means a lot, because I think we need more traction with people knowing that there are genuine people out here.
Yeah.
We are definitely genuine people, and I will tell you, if I can support you, I can.
Yeah.
And I will. Mm-hmm. And that's literally what MovesU Heard is about. That's why I chose the title. Yeah. Because I want people to know, y'all behind this camera, y'all that are listening in your speakers right now, what magic she's putting out in this community. Yeah. And all the other people that have been on this show. Yeah. They are contributing to our society to make it a better place. And if I can do that and have you guys hear it, then you know that there's a place for you to do the same. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Wow. So you just said a lot right there, girl.
That's what it's
Come
for.
On now, talk about
that's
it.
What it's for. And to know that you've done that for people and you've only been in this game for a couple years, almost 3 years, is impactful and incredible. And again, you still got C, D, E, F, G, H, I, F, all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she about to bless so many people out here, and she's only going to continue to elevate. And I'm just really, really happy.
I appreciate it.
And I also like how you touched on the balance, because both of us are solopreneurs. With a 9 to 5.
With a 9 to 5, honey. What are we thinking?
Before we got on this camera, I was telling her how I can't go to bed before 11:30 these days.
And I was telling
that's
her
for y'all.
I'm a grandma.
I want y'all to know that. So y'all better like, follow, and subscribe, because I don't go to bed for y'all. But yeah, like, and you said you go to bed, so
I go to bed.
I need to take notes, but. Talk about how, a little bit more, get deeper into how you're balancing your 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have to give a little bit of a shout out to my super meticulous boyfriend who puts everything on the calendar.
Amen.
Listen, it's definitely a journey. Mm-hmm. I used to claim that I was organized until I had to do this.
Ooh, that's probably me right now.
And then I realized that my life is all over the place. So I'm a calendar girly. Yeah. For sure. I have a physical calendar in my house where I write things down.
I have to write too.
And it's more like a weekly calendar than like a monthly, so that you can actually write down day to day what you need to do. I also have started this thing where I like to call wind down hours, excuse me. I don't let myself do things after a certain time. Yeah. You know, and it does get hard. Yeah. Some days I find myself like this week, you know, I feel like it's because I'm readjusting. I just got home from a work trip. But I've been going to bed every night at like 11:30, 12. And I'm like, now you know you're not going to be able to sleep past 6. Why are you still up? Yeah. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I have other goals outside of Room 1002 in my job, like fitness goals and different things like that. So I can't compromise sleep. Yeah. You know, sleep is a part of that as well. Yeah. And sleep is a part of your mental health.
It's
and
very
I know that that's something that you focus heavy on. So I think I would look at it from that aspect. You know, it's all fine and dandy to be Jaslyn Harris, Smiley, MovesU Heard, and, you know, my moves movie. That's all fine and dandy till you can't move. Yeah. Or you sick in the bed because you ain't got no rest. You know what I mean? Like, you're no good to them or really yourself if you croak over.
She's at my neck, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? So take your butt to bed, girl. But no, seriously, set a balance and also get a content calendar. Mm-hmm. It's a lot to keep up with, but if you do it every Sunday and just kind of plan out your content, and I'm new to doing this, so I'm not even trying to talk like an expert. I really just started doing it 2 weeks ago. Yeah. 3 weeks ago, but it works. Mm-hmm. Get you a content calendar. Actually plan out what you're going to do every single day. Then all you got to do, create the content, put it in Instagram. You can schedule it. If you need to do collabs, it won't really let you schedule, but you can just leave it in the draft.
So, and we're going to have a sidebar after this show. Okay. Because I'm taking notes from her. Because I do need to schedule stuff. Yeah. You know, that takes a lot of time.
It does.
It definitely does.
You'll get on it for 5 minutes. Yeah. And it'll be 3 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I try to skip, because I have my agenda. I love to write in my agenda what days and stuff like that. One, I'm someone that's like hard-headed and optimistic, thinking I can do all of the things. So that space that I have to write during the day, I'm writing all of the things that I want to try and fit in. And then I'll try to do them all. Mm-mm. I am getting to the point where I'm letting it not happen. It's okay if I'm not going to check all the boxes. Mm-hmm. And then for example, this week, I still haven't written in my agenda for this week.
Mm.
And I do. And even though it's about to be Thursday, I still probably will write in it tonight before I go to bed because it's just for my mental sanity to see it. But I just been on go where I usually write it. I didn't get a chance to write it this time. So it's really that discipline thing that I have to work on, and just really being stickler with the time crunch, because it's hard, and it's definitely hard. But I really idolize you in that too. Like even with your fitness journey, with a lot of my friends' fitness journey. I want to go to the gym at least twice a week. That's my goal right now. But again, I don't get sleep. I'll be lucky if I go to one class. Then I might have a rehearsal.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you what it sounds like. You're not being realistic with yourself. You have to actually do what you can instead of trying to force yourself outside of where you are in life. And I used to do that. I want to do all the things every day. You'll burn out. You'll beat yourself up because you're really not being productive. Just because you're doing things, that doesn't mean you're being productive. I had to talk to my boyfriend about this. His calendar, no gaps in it, right? But some kind of way, I look up and be like, you didn't do nothing today. You got all this stuff on your calendar, but you didn't do anything today. What did you do? What did you really do today?
Oh, wow.
No shade to you, babe, because you gotten better at it. But being honest, you have to be honest with yourself, right? So if you know you're a busy girl and you know that you're not going to be able to get to the gym, that sounds to me like you need to be walking around your neighborhood. If you know you're not going to be able to get all your work done, that sounds like instead of 5 tasks, you really only need to hold yourself to 2. That way you actually did accomplish what you said you were going to do that day. And I had to learn how to scale it back myself. Like, you can't do everything in the day. But if you just set aside time to do different things and make sure that you're doing it in priority. You know, instead of making everything a priority, actually do the things that are a priority and go from there. I'm telling you, it'll bring you a lot more
peace. Think I get so wrapped up around the time sensitivity, especially with this podcast. You know, I'm trying to make sure that I stay consistent. We have a lot of editing, a lot of filming, balancing that with work, balancing that with planning for, you know, my workshop and all those things. So it feels like everything needs to happen now. You know, so that's the hard part. But I appreciate that because you're reiterating a lot of the things that my therapist said. Come
on now, so I need to be a therapist.
And really quick, shout out to my man 3 behind the camera.
Ow!
Today, he randomly sent me a reel that guides you through breathing, you know? And when I tell you, I looked at that while I was ripping and running. So shame on me for looking at it while I was ripping and running.
You weren't even breathing.
But no, like I was looking at it and I was like, oh my God, he just sent me a reminder to breathe. Because it was good. Good. Yes.
That was good. Out of my Crown Royal cup. That was some good wine, Miss Mama.
But yeah, like just to have people in your corner that just know, like, he probably was just like, I know this girl just moving right now. Let me just send this to her. And to just see that it's like, okay, it's reminding me. Because like this week I've been crazy at work.
All over, right?
I kind of had to do a lot of stuff on my own in the office this week. So I've been a little crazy. But for him to like send that unprovoked, I appreciate that. And you need like real friends to do that stuff too. Like be your accountability partner with those things and just check in. Because we forget. We're trying to make it. We're trying to hustle. And in this world, this society is so hustle. Like, if you're not hustling, what you're doing.
I'm telling you, it's toxic.
But
in my opinion,
sleep. I need sleep.
I just think that it's toxic. I think that, you know, hustle culture, while it can be wonderful to be out there and putting your best foot forward and all those things, I think that you sell yourself so short. Because patience is a fruit of the spirit, man. And again, you trying to get ahead of God. Well, if I do more now, I'll have less to do later. Says who? Says
that's
who?
Not true at all.
Because once you get successful, you're going to be, I got to get more success. It's never enough. You know what I'm saying?
Or you got to maintain it. You know, and that's a job within itself.
I think that it's toxic to tell yourself, like, I have to go as hard as I humanly can right now. Like, you don't have any other room in life to still make improvements, to still chase other things. All you're going to do, like you just told me, is go from A to B. Oh, but guess what? C's after B, D's after C, E's after D. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll always have more to do. There's so much more life to live. And I think that's how we lose a lot of our youth.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of people do the get rich quick. And, you know, that's why scam culture is such a thing. Because everybody's like, I want it right now.
Yeah.
I don't want it right now. I want it in God's timing. And I'm willing to have patience and truly let God drive this wheel, man. And you know what I'm saying? And go with that pace.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to get there.
Yeah.
So please, once again, never hear me as someone trying to condemn anyone who might be living in these particular spaces or anything. But it's just something that I had to learn. Like, me hustling didn't get me there any faster. You know, if anything, by the time I got there, I couldn't even really appreciate it because I'm just so tired and overworked and a little pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm okay with it taking a little bit longer.
You just made it click for me. Has it ever occurred to you when you're rushing, you take longer to get stuff done? Whenever I'm like rushing to pack up my desk to get in the car, it still takes me forever. Like, I'm dropping things. I can't find stuff, but I'm moving.
Look
like
at the
this.
clock is like, whoa, 10 minutes went by.
That's a clear example right there. That's so true. And I hate when that happens because that's the moment you really want to get to your destination that fast, or you want to finish that thing that fast. But when you rush like that, it takes you even longer. Slow and steady win the race, baby.
The tortoise did beat the hare.
The tortoise did beat the hare. Okay, so we already like flowed into this.
Okay.
But just to officially, you know, bring it into the space. As you know, I am hosting my 3rd annual Mental Moves workshop.
So proud of you.
As of today, you'll see this later, but as of today, I launched my ticket sales for the Mental Moves workshop.
And the shares are going hard. I'm one of them people. I look at everybody analytics. Okay, I saw you had 150 shares, Miss Mama.
Oh, that could be a lot of me though.
That's
but it's
right.
okay. It's
That's
okay.
Right. She didn't even have to say that. She didn't have to tell y'all that.
Grace and transparency. What I said.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I've officially launched my ticket sales for the Mental Moves workshop of 2024, and it's near and dear to my heart. It's always near and dear to my heart, but this year is very special because we're focusing on the mental health of Black women in our communities. So this is a ladies only event this year, but it's really special because I feel like I need to cultivate this space for our community. I need to show them that we have time to really put into discussing our struggles, but not only just discussing our struggles, but also seeing what we can do about them.
Come on now, because I'm a woman of solutions.
Because I'm always about taking stuff back home. Okay, so that we can move from that and just, you know, heal and continue to inspire others. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to break generational curses.
Let's go.
So I'm a heavy mental health advocate. So I just want to, you know, talk about where your journey is, if whatever you feel comfortable talking about as far as your mental health. And I like to start it off always by saying, how are you and how are you really?
Right. I love that. If I'm honest with you, girl, most days I'm wonderful. But there are days where I am full on breaking down, still feeling like I'm in bondage from certain things. You know how you always like hear about people who think that they've been set free and then they haven't? You know, I don't have a problem saying, you know, I am almost 150 days sober from marijuana. And, you know, that was one of my biggest coping mechanisms. I used to get geeked, baby. Like, your girl was getting geeked. And for a while, I really did love weed, and it's even something now that I kind of struggle with. And I don't want to say struggle as in like, you know, if I smell weed, I'm like, oh, where the weed at? But literally just like, there are days where things happen where I'm like, see, the old me would have rolled up because y'all trying me in here, you know. But there are, you know, I struggle heavy with, I don't even want to call it low self-esteem because I don't have low self-esteem. I just struggle with always seeing myself as valuable.
Okay.
So a lot of times that results in like binge eating and, you know, and a lot of it, of course, has to also do with this social media presence that I'm presenting. Like, well, I work out and I eat healthy foods and look at me, I drank my gallon. But behind the scenes, I'm binging. I'm having these random compulsive like moments where I'm just like, what is going on? And so, lately I've really been having to rely on the Holy Spirit, like really leaving room, like I talked about earlier, just leaving room for God in my space instead of trying to use my own willpower. I heard a quote earlier that, willpower is only a driving force. And because of that means it can drive you anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can think that your willpower is holding you strong until your desire is stronger than and now you're driving this way. And so I would be lying if I said I'm not good, because God is good.
Amen all the time.
I was finna say, don't be Candace Owens. Don't be Candace Owens talking about some God is good, amen. All the time.
Because I was already about to say amen, and then you pointed at me.
Man, somebody get her, man. Look, call Jess hilarious, man. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Okay, but for God is good. And so he's really just been my cornerstone with that. When I think of mental health, I think of spiritual health. And where is my spirit right now? And I would honestly say that we are on a good track.
Good.
We really are. I am still struggling a little bit. So when you say, how am I really doing? Yeah. I'm really still struggling. But feeling very optimistic about where it's headed, and just understanding that, God saw value in me before I even knew what I looked like, let alone before my mother gave birth to me. When I was an egg in my grandmother's womb.
Amen.
God saw value in me. So I have to remember that I may never be 125 pounds. I may never look like an IG model. I may never go viral. I may never be all those things, but I do have value. And I'm just working on waking up every day with that on my mind. Not like, how can I, just how can I be better than yesterday? Yeah. I think that is a good place to start to keep me healthy versus waking up literally beating myself up from yesterday. Where, just what can I do?
That's hard when you're a perfectionist. That's hard when you're...
And I don't want to be one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard when you're just very critical about yourself and how you present yourself. Yep. And those are all good qualities to have, but it can definitely hurt you. And again, I appreciate you for your vulnerability and talking about, how you are perceived on social media and through your content versus what you do behind the door, behind the closed doors. That's real. And what we were talking about, when we was back there while I was putting on my little face,
beating it
up. What I'm saying? Every time I say something too, it's saying it to them, but it's also saying it to myself. Just remembering to you said leave room for God, but also leave room for the humanness in you. You're on a journey of improving your discipline, and so am I. But we forget that we are also human. Humans make mistakes. This world, this society, this social media has this thing where everybody has to be perfect. If you're a fitness instructor, if you're an influencer for all this and that, that's what your idea is. That's what your vision of you is. That's how you think that you are. That's your identity. But in reality, girl, you a whole person outside of that. You have the room to have feelings. You have the room to have cravings. You have the room to slip up. And yes, we don't want to. Right. Yes, we want to be those people that have the 110% discipline where we never mess up, right? Yeah. But we were just, talking about how, girl, we girls too with hormones.
So sometimes don't even be
right. You might be thinking that you just don't have the discipline to do stuff, but really your body is telling you some stuff that your instincts just kick in and it happens. And it's great that you might get to a level where your mind can control those things. But while you're on this journey, giving yourself grace. Absolutely. And knowing that you're human. You might mess up a little bit, but it's okay. And you might not be ever 125, girl. I'm not 125.
Honey. The doctor say I'm supposed to be 140. I say, girl, who's that going to be?
Girl, I was 144 in high school.
I'm like, what is that even going to look like?
Girl,
who knows?
Whatever you decide and wherever you end up in your fitness journey is for you. But what I'm going to say right now is this girl look good how she is. I just want to let you guys know that right now. Yeah. Don't say the two chins. You get on my nerves. You get on my nerves. Bria. No, but she's beautiful on the inside and out. And
thank you.
I look to her for, some fitness inspiration.
Come on.
Honestly.
I love that.
Honestly, because yes, I'm a dancer, but I don't train as hard as I used to. Mm-hmm. And that was a lot of my healthy.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about it because I was always in rehearsal. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to worry. But now I'm going to work, coming home. Going to work, doing an interview, coming home. Still eating at 11 o'clock because that's the only time I got to eat. So it don't mean like the body is like physically. It's also inside. Absolutely. So it's inspirational for that.
Yeah.
But so as we conclude the topic on like the mental moves, I want to know like what is one thing you feel like people need to understand about Black women? Mm. Like, what is one thing you wish people are willing to hear or willing to understand about them? About us, I should say.
One thing that I would like for people to know and understand about Black women is that our tone doesn't always indicate our mood.
I love that.
My job, I am actually the only African American at my company, mm-hmm. and I'm also a woman. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times I have to premeditate how I'm going to say something just so someone doesn't think that I'm aggressive or angry or bossy or even rude. I'm just straightforward. And that's not to say that some of us don't have a little attitude that could be adjusted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's a misunderstanding that Black women are angry. Mm-hmm. Black women are aggressive. Black women, in most cases, are overworked.
Yeah.
A little bit too tired. Some of it's on us. Some of it's our, the
survival.
The situations that we've been given or maybe even produced for ourselves, Yeah. But, I'm all about accountability.
Yeah.
But either way, I wish people would take a little bit more time to get to know the woman behind the facial expression, behind the attitude, because attitude doesn't actually mean your negative persona. Mm-hmm. Attitude is just how you present yourself. Yeah. Some people some people can be sassy. Mm-hmm. Some people can be aggressive, but it doesn't mean she's angry.
It could be just a personality trait.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that taking the time to really find out who the woman is will go a long way. Because I know growing up, I was always misinterpreted as mean. Yeah. Like, she's mean. She's bossy. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just... to be honest, and I never meant it in an arrogant manner, but I really am just a leader. Mm-hmm. I'm not mean. I'm not bossy. I want us to get things done. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's definitely what I would say.
I really appreciate that. That's a good topic to talk about, too. The perception of Black women.
Yes.
Yeah, that's big.
Huge, especially in corporate, in jobs.
In corporate, yeah.
Oh, girl.
That's we could have a whole episode about that.
Let's do it.
That's what we're going to do when she comes back.
I know, right? Black women in America.
Yes. Okay, let me stop. But again, thank you. I would have her here all night if I could.
Honey, it's school night.
I know, it's school night. She got to tell me I got to go to bed. That's what she really saying. But again, thank you for being a part of this show. Thank you again for having me on your show.
Absolutely, anytime.
Again, shout out to Room 1002.
Room 1002.
Yes. So, go ahead. Another quick plug. Tell them how to follow you, how to find you. Room 1002, Bria Edwards. Tell them all.
All that. All right. Well, you guys can follow me on my personal page at BNE__. Those are my initials. You can follow Room 1002 Exclusives at Room 1002 Exclusives. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube at Room 1002 Exclusives. Be sure to check out Jaslyn's episode. It's going to be in season 2. We're on season 3 right now, guys. So come on over, become a part of the community. And if you know any artists, creatives, or innovators who are shaking up the things here in Atlanta, send them my way. I would love to have them on.
Yes. Thank you for that. And again, make sure that you follow, you like, and subscribe our show, MovesU Heard, on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And again, tickets for Mental Moves 2024 are available now. So go to mymovesmoveyou.com to purchase your tickets. It's ladies only, 16 and up. go ahead and purchase your tickets now. It's going to be a great event here in Atlanta. I'll be promoting everywhere. But thank you. Thank you again so much for everything.
And I'm glad that you said that it's for high schoolers as well, because
I've
got a couple of youth at the church. I can get them some tickets.
Yes, 16 and up. Please bring them.
Absolutely.
Please bring them. So it's going to be great. Y'all going to hear me talk about this event all the way up until May. And before we go, I just want to let you guys know she's our last interview of season 1.
OMG! That is so big!
Yeah, you're special, girl! But yes, thank you again for watching so much. I'm so happy to have you guys a part of this community, and we will be back soon.
Later, y'all.
Bye.